With a burst of light, little Kun quickly grew larger. I searched around the mall for a while and finally found the life fruit I had given to Ancient Ape last time. It cost 500,000 evolution points. That's expensive, I thought to myself in surprise. Still, I clicked to buy a life fruit. Forget it. For Ape's sister, 500,000 is fine. It might be because of the corrosive nature of the venom bomb, but Ancient Ape's wounds never healed, especially the bald spot on her back. Ape's sister, eat this. It will heal your wounds. Speaking of baldness, it made me think of the Deathlark. Could its head and neck have become bald from fighting with the dead rotten reptiles? After Ancient Ape swallowed the life fruit, her body was surrounded by a green light, and not only did her wounds heal quickly, but she also grew taller. Dragon brother, do you have any more of these fruits? Send me a few more. You think these are cabbages by the road? I paid for these myself. I didn't expect the life fruit to work so well. It seems I can exchange more for Ancient Ape in the future. I could even use the life fruit to negotiate with that bald bird. At this moment, Ancient Ape looked at me with a mischievous smile. I'm finally taller than Dragon brother now. Is that so? You better watch out. I put the remaining 1,500,000 evolution points all on height, and I was immediately surrounded by golden light. Ancient Ape covered her eyes because it was too bright. Then she looked up to me in shock and confusion. Dragon brother, how did you become so tall all of a sudden? I was smug, thinking, if I say I'm a cheat, you probably wouldn't understand. Let me try out the new skills next, I said excitedly. Ancient Ape saw the light shining from my dorsal fin and was immediately startled. Dragon brother, what are you doing? When she saw the energy gathering in my mouth, she jumped high in fright. The next second, an explosive bomb burst forth from my mouth, flying toward the dead rotten reptile's nest. No way, it's not burst breath, Ancient Ape said in confusion. The explosive bomb hit the dead rotten reptile's nest and unexpectedly bounced back. How did it come back? Ancient Ape, frightened, immediately lay down on the ground to dodge. The explosive bomb hit the mountain wall and bounced back, flying towards the sky. This skill really works well. It looks like I need to hit more dead rotten reptile's nest. Ancient Ape, astonished, is this the Venom's bouncing bomb ability? At this moment, the Deathlark, which had just left, was leading its minions in search of the Wolverine when it suddenly felt a chill on its back. It turned around and was startled to see the explosive bomb rapidly approaching. In desperation, it quickly grabbed a minion beside it to shield itself from the explosive bomb. So it's not a venom bomb. That scared me to death. I thought the venom had come back to life. It's those two again. I'll settle the score with you next time. 2 days later, Ancient Ape and I were doing strength training. Ape sister, today brother will take you to another dead rotten reptile's nest, just as we've run out of food. Ancient Ape, hearing that we were going to look for fresh ingredients, immediately lit up with excitement. Just then, the cry of a pterosaur was heard. Could it be another pterosaur coming to crash the party? I saw 2 mutated pterosaurs fly over our heads, one of them pecking fiercely at the other's head. What's going on? Are they fighting among themselves? There seems to be something on that pterosaur's neck. A pterosaur rider? I saw a handsome man with a sword on his back and long hair draped over his shoulders lying on the back of the pterosaur, another sword deeply embedded in the pterosaur's neck. The handsome man slowly pulled out the large sword from his back, then leaped up and slashed at the pterosaur above. What am I seeing? A man actually riding a pterosaur, slashing at another with a sword. There are still pterosaur riders on Abyss Island. Soon, 2 more pterosaurs rushed to join the fight. The pterosaur rider was suddenly startled as one of the pterosaurs pecked fiercely at him. He jumped to dodge the attack, but the pterosaur he was on was killed by its peer. The pterosaur rider used the jump to reach the side of another pterosaur and stabbed fiercely into its eye. The pterosaur screamed in pain, frantically shaking its head trying to throw the pterosaur rider off. The pterosaur rider leaped again, reaching the back of the pterosaur and attacked its wings furiously. The pterosaur screamed skyward and plunged toward the ground. The pterosaur rider stabilized his position by stabbing another sword into the pterosaur's neck, and they were falling directly towards where Ancient Ape and I were standing. Ancient Ape shouted, "Dragon brother, it's coming for us." The next second, she began to gather energy, instantly transforming into a monster form, and roared upward. She uprooted a large tree next to her and hurled it fiercely at the falling pterosaur. The tree hit the pterosaur's head accurately and smashed into the nearby forest with a bang, scattering several large trees. The pterosaur rider swiftly maneuvered through the flying tree trunks, landing right in front of me and Ancient Ape. He walked towards us, muttering, "I've finally found you." The pterosaur rider turned to look at Ancient Ape. "She is that female ape." He sniffed me briefly and confirmed, "You must be that thunder dragon." I was completely bewildered, with no recollection. "Who are you? Do we know each other?" Little Kun, I thought to myself, you better explain clearly. Did I really travel to a world of cultivation or a Western fantasy world? The pterosaur rider put the sword to his mouth and coldly said, "We've met before. How could you forget me so quickly? You are that Wolverine who wanted the sword. Is this your human form? That is amazing. Why could all the animals in this world change into human beings? Is that a common practice now?" At this moment, the Wolverine stated it wanted to fight me again. "I lost to you last time because I was in wolf form. This time, in human form, I won't lose again." I just felt this guy was nuts, suddenly coming over to challenge me to a fight, and talking as if he had been at a disadvantage fighting me as a wolf instead of as a human. Looking at the Wolverine getting ready to to attack while lying on the ground. I was face-palming. Did you mistakenly eat a transformation fruit? But your transformation isn't complete. A wolf's head on a human body and walking on your 4 limbs. Could it be that the transformation fruit you ate was unripe, so its power is limited? The Wolverine suddenly leaped high, roaring from its mouth, and slashed at me. I quickly jumped to the side to dodge the attack. Damn it, you mean it? I didn't say I accept your duel. Seeing that I wasn't fighting back, the Wolverine seemed very angry and crazily slashed at me a few more times. Fight back. Otherwise, you'll die. For a moment, I was in grave danger, cursing inwardly. Damn it, this body isn't as tough as a Kuei dragon's. I can't take a hit. Seeing me in danger, Ancient Ape's eyes flashed fiercely, and she roared and smashed at the Wolverine. The Wolverine jumped back, dodging Ancient Ape's attack. As soon as it landed, Ancient Ape immediately swung her fist and chased after it. After transforming into a human form, the Wolverine was very fast, dodging Ancient Ape's attacks with several quick moves and lunging straight at me. That female ape isn't human at all. She knows nothing about human fighting skills. She's fighting like a monster. My goal is to fight you. At this moment, Ancient Ape, unable to catch the Wolverine, seemed extremely angry, swinging her huge fists and smashing towards the Wolverine, completely unaware that I was below. With a boom, Ancient Ape's fist landed right beside my feet. Ape sister, distinguish between friend and enemy when you fight. You almost sent me off just now. The Wolverine jumped behind me, scoffing. Ape girl, our situation is now the exact opposite of when we first met. But sorry, I don't have time to deal with you now. I just want to fight a human. I looked at Ancient Ape, thinking, such low-level provocation. Ape sister won't fall for it. But the next second, Ancient Ape, like crazy, pounced on the Wolverine and punched a rock to pieces. Damn, she fell into his tricks. While running, I yelled, you bad-tempered girl. Didn't I tell you to be careful around me when fighting? Just then, the Wolverine suddenly jumped behind me, holding a knife to my neck, and whispered, if I'm not mistaken, you must be a human being. What does this wolf head mean? Is he talking about my current form? I smiled and replied, sorry to disappoint you, but I prefer to fight in monster form. I've given up on being a human for many years. Being able to switch freely between human and monster is indeed impressive. Why do you refuse to fight with me in your human form? You're sick. I could easily overpower you with my size, so why would I fight you in human form? Besides, you're holding 2 large swords, while I have nothing. Only a fool would fight you in human form. You could even slaughter a wind pterosaur. The Wolverine looked up at me, sneering, I don't know how you became a monster, but a monster's body doesn't suit you. I scoffed. How could the tiny human body be of any use in Abyss Island? There are monsters everywhere. The Wolverine continued, because the fighting skills developed by human beings work best when you are in human form. After saying that, he posed for an attack, leaped upwards using a large tree, and lunged at me. Watch out, I'm going to stab your throat. Before I could react, my throat was slashed by the Wolverine. He stared at me, coldly reminding, and now I'm coming for your face. As the Wolverine lunged at me again, I instinctively tensed up and reflexively reached out to slap him. The Wolverine flipped over, stepping on my arm, his face full of smugness. I am only a bite away from your mouth, but still you chose to raise your arm. Indeed, humans instinctively use their hands when they are nervous. Humans have flexible hands and maximize their use, but at the same time, this over-reliance is also their greatest weakness. Just as the knife was about to pierce my eye, the Wolverine stopped, sneered, and said, it seems you really are a human being. Thank God this worked. What do you mean by that? I asked, filled with confusion. It seems that this Wolverine has deep connections with humans, to be so familiar with human behavior. Could it be that his martial arts and sword techniques were also learned from humans? While I was pondering, a huge dark shadow suddenly flew over. The Wolverine looked up calmly and said, she won't give me a second chance to jump. The next second, the Deathlark suddenly appeared, grabbing the Wolverine with one claw. It's that Deathlark, daring to snatch people in my territory. You will pay for it. I fired an explosive bomb at the Deathlark, who was immediately startled. Damn, not this thing again. She casually grabbed a minion beside her to shield herself, and the explosive bullet bomb bounced off the pterosaur's body to one side. The Deathlark was puzzled. What's going on? It didn't explode. As soon as she finished speaking, the explosive bomb bounced back, directly hitting her body. Damn, that hurts. The Deathlark fell downwards, releasing the Wolverine. This is the 3rd time I've shot down that weird bird, I exclaimed. You're cool, dragon brother, Ancient Ape said. Looking at the Wolverine falling, I thought, he clearly had the chance to seriously injure me just now, but didn't follow through, just wanted to spar with me. Moreover, he seems very familiar with humans. If I could recruit him to fight against the dead rotten reptiles together, he'd definitely be a great help. Now's a good time to do him a favor. So, I sent Ancient Ape to rescue the Wolverine, while I ran towards where the Deathlark was falling. But when I got there was no sign of the Deathlark. Strange. Did she just run off without caring about the Wolverine and her own minions? Just then, there was a rustle from the bushes nearby. Following the sound, I found an injured girl hanging from a vine. Recalling Little Cohen's mention of the transformation into human form through energy fluctuations, my eyes nearly popped out. You're that ugly bird. You really can transform into a human, and you're a female too, but you're much prettier this way. Shut up, you ugly dragon. The bird girl responded angrily. You've ruined my plans many times. The first time, that female monkey ate my transformation transformation fruit. She transformed into human and ran away. I searched everywhere for her, yet you saved her. The second time, you ate my transformation fruit. I tried to stop you, and you injured me. The third time, I decided to eat that female monkey to punish her for eating my transformation fruit, and you interrupted me again. I haven't made you pay for these yet. The Wolverine also took my transformation fruit, which is why I went hunting him, but you stopped me again. She continued, but considering you helped me get rid of the venom, I'll forgive you for stealing my fruit. If you know what's good for you, leave quickly and don't interfere with me capturing the Wolverine. I chuckled. I was originally planning to catch you and roast you on a skewer. That's why I came here following your traces, but seeing you are only a weird-tempered girl, I've decided to let you go. How about we negotiate? Would you be willing to cooperate with me to fight the dead rotten reptiles? Instead of being grateful, the bird girl retorted haughtily, why should I cooperate with an ugly dragon like you? Because we have a common enemy, like the dead rotten reptiles, and their 6 princes, Venom. Venom? That's only because I've been too busy and occupied at the moment. Otherwise, I would have killed Venom myself. Is that so? That's not what I heard. Ape's sister said you suffered a great defeat. Many of your feathers were plucked out. The bird girl blushed deeply. Shut up, but don't worry about that. I have a fruit that can help your feathers grow back. Just when I thought the bird girl was about to compromise, she laughed and said, you're really smart. You almost got me, but I know why you're doing this. You're trying to buy time for that female monkey to rescue the Wolverine. Did you think I was unprepared? Open your eyes and look. I turned to see, and suddenly 2 ancient god pterosaurs, not only grabbing the Wolverine, but also took control of ancient ape, taking her into the sky. Dare to touch ape's sister? Do you still not understand your own situation? The bird girl sneered, pulling out 3 feathers. Do you think I would allow myself to be trampled upon you? From the beginning, I never took you as a challenge. These feathers are very precious. I didn't expect to use them on someone like you. After saying that, she flung the feathers from her hand like wind blades, scattering in all directions. Let me show you what I am capable of. Is this a magic attack? She even had such a powerful move up her sleeve. The wind blades cut a large tree in half, and countless wounds were also slashed across my body. If you knew how precious the feathers in my hand are, you would be grateful for my generosity. As she released the light from the second feather, suddenly countless tornadoes uprooted the trees, and the powerful wind pressure pinned me to the ground, unable to move. That feather was a punishment for you saving that female monkey, and this one is for helping the Wolverine. Countless tree trunks fell, pinning my body down and making it impossible for me to move. At that moment, the deathlark took out a 3rd feather, smirking at me contemptuously. I strained to lift my body, thinking, in my current state, another hit would leave me disabled if not dead. But the next second, the bird girl put away the feather. I was thinking of punishing you for stealing the transformation fruit, but seeing you now on your knees, I'll let you off this time. Do you realize the gap in our strengths now? After speaking, her body emitted a burst of golden light, transformed into the deathlark, and chased after her pterosaur minions. This ugly bird is definitely not the kind type. Why would she let go of me? She could have easily ended my life. I thought, watching ancient ape and the Wolverine about to be taken away. I didn't have time to consider these things. I mustered all my strength to stand up, gathered an explosive bomb in my mouth, and shot it at the deathlark. Take that, damn ugly bird. The deathlark turned her head, disdainfully said, scaring me with that pathetic light ball again? Do you think I'm stupid? It bounces 3 times before it explodes. I just need to kick it away in advance. I fired several more explosive bombs. You can dodge 1 explosive bomb, but what about 3? The deathlark looked at me as if I were an idiot. Are you insulting my intelligence? No matter how many of these pathetic things you have, they're useless. But my target was not her. It was the pterosaur minions behind her. Cut it out, stupid bird. You think I really wanted to hit you? I might have failed in physical education, but I'm a master of geometry. As the explosive bomb bounced for the 2nd time, it hit the pterosaur holding the Wolverine. It was like fireworks in the sky. The pterosaur holding ancient ape was also successfully hit. The deathlark was dumbfounded. You were using me? At that moment, the other pterosaur, still struggling to drag ancient ape's hefty body upward. Ancient ape seized the moment, grabbed its wing, flipped over, and landed on top of it, using the pterosaur as a cushion for a safe landing. I hurried over to ask if ancient ape was okay. Ancient ape, however, reproachfully said, sorry, dragon bro, I couldn't complete the task you gave me to rescue the Wolverine. It's okay. I just saw the Wolverine fall into the forest behind us. He should be fine. Let's deal with this ugly bird first. Ape's sister, just find something to smash on that weird bird's head. No sooner had I spoken than ancient ape threw the body of the pterosaur from the ground, but the deathlark easily dodged it. Damn, not the pterosaur. I haven't devoured that one yet. You dodged the first move, but what about the second? Ugly bird, watch as I burn off all the feathers. Burst breath. Unexpectedly, she dodged the burst breath as well. The deathlark angrily said, how dare you attack my precious feathers, you filthy man. Just then, ancient ape and I both gasped as we saw a pterosaur suddenly fly high, with the Wolverine lying on its belly. He suddenly sprang up and lunged at the deathlark. Watching the approaching Wolverine, the deathlark easily dodged backward. The Wolverine sped up again and snipped off the few remaining feathers on top of the deathlark's head. Tears in her eyes, the deathlark dove sharply after the falling feathers. Ancient ape and I watched in disbelief as the Wolverine, his eyes shining with golden light, chuckled As long as I can predict the movement and target your weakness, there's nothing I can't cut through. I suddenly realized the Wolverine ability to easily snap the weird bird's feathers makes him her natural nemesis. So, I lavishly praised him. How marvelous. Mr. Wolverine, how about you join us? We can fight against this bird together. But who knew? Not only was the Wolverine unappreciative, he even said, look at your size. How could you be of any use in this jungle? Damn, didn't expect this Wolverine to hold a grudge, I thought to myself. But to win over the Wolverine, I shamelessly said, you're right, Mr. Wolverine. On this monster-infested Abyss Island, indeed, it is the human body that has its uses. So, Mr. Wolverine, how about we first deal with this weird bird, and then I'll transform into human form and have a proper fight with you. The Deathlark was visibly annoyed and angrily said, licking his boots, ugly dragon, do you have no monster dignity? I just spared your life. How could you be so ungrateful and ask the wolf to attack my feathers? She knew if we teamed up, she couldn't beat us, so she prepared to flee. Thinking of leaving? It won't be that easy. What do you want then? Expect me to apologize? No way. I blackmailed her with her own feathers. Either join us to fight the dead rotten reptiles king, or leave your magical feathers behind. The Deathlark scoffed. Just the three of you? You think I can't fly away? Want to get slashed? Just try it. I reminded her, this dense forest is disadvantageous for you. Mr. Wolverine is watching you from the tree branches. However, the Deathlark didn't believe it, flapping her wings preparing to take off. The Wolverine disappeared in an instant, reappearing above the Deathlark, raising his blade to strike her. He's serious. The Deathlark ducked her head to avoid the attack, but lost her balance and sat down hard on the ground. She looked up at her circling pterosaur minions and let out a distressed sound, prompting several pterosaurs to dive at us. By then, Ancient Ape had already picked up a tree trunk, ready to swing. She smacked one of the pterosaurs like a baseball. As the pterosaurs swarmed us, the Deathlark bolted, trying to shake off the Wolverine and then fly into the sky. As she turned into an ostrich, I thought to myself, then chased after her. Silly bird. On the ground, those skinny legs of yours can't outrun me. I suddenly accelerated past her, spun around. Dragon kill. I slammed heavily into her, sending her flying hundreds of meters. How about it, ugly bird? Our strength isn't too shabby. Want to join us three in taking down the king of the dead rotten reptiles? The Wolverine, however, looked confused. Wait a minute, when did I agree to join you against the king of the dead rotten reptiles? I ignored him and continued speaking to the Deathlark. Join us, or leave behind a wing. I revealed a charming smile. Suddenly, the Deathlark exploded in anger. If you're asking me this way, you're no different from that stupid ape. Just then, the Wolverine swung his blade, cutting off the feathers on her tail and swiftly turning them into fragments. The Deathlark grew even angrier, bellowing, do you know how precious these feathers are? Each one is the life essence of a monster on this island. It turns out she was turning monsters into humans, then devouring their cores and storing the energy in her feathers. My expression darkened immediately. So that's why you've been relentlessly hunting Ancient Ape and the Wolverine. Since we can't be friends, then you're an enemy. I will never let an enemy who threatens our lives go. The Deathlark scoffed. Even if you let me go now, I wouldn't leave. Her tail began to spin rapidly. Abyss Island is facing a disaster. These feathers are the energy trusted to me by the monsters of the island, and you not only failed to help but wasted their goodwill. Do you know how angry they are now? Before I could say more, several tornadoes descended from the sky. Prepare to face my wrath. Damn, the feathers from those two tails must be more than 50. Looks like this weird bird is pulling out her ace card. I felt a sense of dread. The next second, a deadly hurricane centered around the ugly bird, picked up the surrounding large trees and hurled stones everywhere. Even I, as strong as Godzilla, couldn't withstand it and was instantly blown away, tumbling across the ground. I had just steadied myself when Ancient Ape shouted from a deep pit, Dragon bro, take shelter in this pit. Ape sister, glad you're okay. Where's the Wolverine? This is like cheating. The attack is like a natural disaster. How are we supposed to fight this? As soon as I spoke, I noticed the wind weakening. Could it be that the Deathlarks used up all her feathers? Is that Wolverine? So it was him who got her attention. It's strange. Clearly Ancient Ape and I pose a greater threat to the Deathlark, but why does she keep chasing after Wolverine? Could it be out of love? Even if Wolverine is agile, he's probably helpless against a tornado. We need to figure something out. Suddenly, a flock of shadows flew from a distance. Actually, a group of Dimorphodon pterosaurs. These creatures, though not large in size, have a flying speed, sharp teeth, and tremendous biting force that can quickly gnaw prey larger than themselves into bones. Ugly bird, this is the third time you summon helpers here. I don't know you are friends with these death pterosaurs. At that moment, the Deathlark glanced at Ancient Ape and me, then made a sound to her pterosaur minions. Sure enough, this flock of death pterosaurs swooped down on Ancient Ape and me. Damn, they're really coming for us. Ape sister, run. Ancient Ape, clearly annoyed. Dragon bro, why run? They're just a bunch of little chicks. I'll skewer them up. Won't that be delicious? Didn't you see their teeth are sharper than Wolverine's blades? If we run slow, we'll turn into a pile of bones in minutes. Mentioning Wolverine, I suddenly slammed on the brakes. Mr. Wolverine is still in danger. Ape sister, leave this to me. Seize the chance to break out and support Mr. Wolverine. I let out a dragon roar to the sky, causing the pterosaurs to briefly enter a stunned state, and with a dragon tail whip, I took care of a few of the little ones in front of me. Ancient Ape took the opportunity opportunity to dash out. The pterosaurs that came to their senses began biting me non-stop. Damn little chicks, relying on their numbers to keep me on my toes. Their attacks fast and dense. These audacious little things. Biting me? Don't teach me how to bite. I'm an expert. You have successfully devoured a Dimorphodon pterosaur. Evolution points increased by 900. Congratulations on your first devouring of a Dimorphodon pterosaur, receiving a special reward of 5,000 evolution points. Detecting severe damage to the host's body. Evolution points are automatically deducted to repair wounds. There's an unexpected gain. Turns out the evolution points gained in devouring can also heal wounds, but it doesn't mean they are not painful. Damn it, it's just a little pain. As long as I eat quicker than you attack, there's no way I'll lose this battle. As I continued devouring, my evolution points increased, and the system kept repairing my wounds. Bring it on, you chickens. Let's see who survives at last. At that moment, wrapped in a tornado, the death lark furiously attacked the wolverine, who easily dodged her blows. Although the tornado increased her speed, the wolverine could predict her movements in advance, making dodging not difficult. But as long as he couldn't break through the tornado barrier wrapping her, his defeat was only a matter of time. So, while he still had the strength, the wolverine sprinted far away, hoping those two fools would seize the chance to escape. Regrettably, he didn't get to fight Thunder Dragon in his human form. While he was pondering, Ancient Ape dropped from the sky, shielding the wolverine behind her. You big fool, what are you doing here? This isn't your fight. Seeing Ancient Ape arrive, the Death Lark immediately unleashed a death tornado, which with a bang, hit Ancient Ape directly, blasting her back hundreds of meters. Wolverine jumped in front of Ancient Ape and said, "Her target is me. Let me handle her myself." "You're welcome, Mr. Wolverine. Dragon Brother said that if we're friends, we should share the burden." "You silly girl, who's being polite with you? Can't you see that I think you're in the way?" Ancient Ape firmly said. "Then let's suffer the defeat together. No matter what happens, we won't abandon you." That remark made Wolverine recall some memories from his past. Images of the past with his master appeared. "Little soldier, don't follow me. You're so big, you'll be in the way." I won't leave you." It was a similar scene, just with the roles reversed. These two are truly adorable. While they were talking, the Death Lark suddenly appeared, grabbing Ancient Ape with one claw. Wolverine, seeing this, became extremely angry, slashed at her leg, but it had no effect. He put his blade in his mouth, pressed down on the blade with his right hand, and slashed at the Death Lark again, unleashing his special move Dazzle Slash. Although this slash forced the Death Lark to stagger backward, she used a death tornado to hurl stones at Wolverine in the moment she fell. Wolverine was hit by a flying boulder and sent flying, but luckily Ancient Ape caught him in time. Taking advantage of the Death Lark's distraction, Ancient Ape quickly carried him towards me. At this time, with my powerful blood-sucking ability, I had defeated all the Dimorphodon pterosaurs. Seeing Ancient Ape bringing Wolverine over, I gave her a thumbs up. "Ape sister, well done. I didn't expect you to rescue Wolverine from the Death Lark." However, Wolverine complained, "This is no different from killing yourself. Why didn't you run away? Do you think you can defeat that monster? Her attacks are like natural disasters." I said seriously, outlining my plan. I plan to lure the Death Lark into a narrow, unventilated place to trap her. Wolverine was stunned by my contemplative look. Humans look so cool when they think, but how to lure her there is the problem. At this point, Wolverine explained, "The reason the Death Lark keeps chasing me, she wants to take the crystal nucleus from my body, so let me be the bait. She'll definitely fall for it," Wolverine said. Ancient Ape suggested using the Venom Cave. Last time I saw the Death Lark getting beaten up was also in a similar cave. Wolverine doesn't know the location of that cave, so let me be the bait instead. I didn't want Ancient Ape to be in danger and strongly urged her not to take the risk, suggesting we could think of another way. Just then, the Death Lark flew up high, spotted our location, and swiftly charged towards us. Ancient Ape shouted loudly, "Dragon Bro, let me go. I know this dense forest best, and I've been fighting the dead rotten reptiles here long before you came to Abyss Island. Indeed, I've always seen Ancient Ape as someone I needed to protect, but she's also capable of handling things on her own." So, I agreed to let Ancient Ape act as the bait while Wolverine and I try to slow down the Death Lark. "You ride Little Tangerine, that way, it's faster and safer," I told Ancient Ape, then yelled toward the lair, "Little Tangerine, come here. You can finally make some contributions." To better attract the Death Lark, I had Wolverine hide inside my mouth. Soon after, Little Tangerine arrived, and our battle plan officially began. Ancient Ape, transformed into human form, rode Little Tangerine toward the lair of Venom. As they sprinted, she kept heading toward the cave. However, when she looked back at the Death Lark, she realized it hadn't followed her. Instead, she was searching for Wolverine. To better draw the Death Lark's attention, Ancient Ape told Little Tangerine to wait up front while she grabbed a vine and leaped onto a large tree. She beat her chest, taunting the Death Lark, "You ugly bird, I'm right here." Two giant Smilodon, seeing Ancient Ape's antics, said disdainfully, "Here we go again. That's how my cousins lost their lives. They fell into her trap and then were eaten by that dragon. Such outdated trick. Only idiots will." They hadn't finished speaking when a shadow flashed above them. Suddenly a fierce wind arose, and trees were uprooted. The two giant Smilodon hugged each other in fright, their courage falling to the ground. Watching the approaching Death Lark, Ancient Ape leaped down from the tree, and Little Little Tangerine caught her smoothly. Little Tangerine, the weird bird has been lured here. Quickly dive into the bushes ahead. At that moment, the Deathlark, thinking Ancient Ape was unstable in her transformation and had reverted to human form during the intense battle. You're really unlucky. Before I capture Wolverine, I'll use you to replenish my spent energy. Since her large size was a disadvantage in the forest, she prepared to call on her pterosaur minions to lead the way. But when she looked back, she found her pterosaur minions were being bitten by the Thunder Dragon. She cursed them as useless and then let out a loud cry, shaking up people again. With a rumbling sound, a large flock of mutated dodos and several mutated Archaeopteryxes appeared behind Ancient Ape. What kind of fools are these chasing us? Little Tangerine turned and dove into the bushes, darting and jumping inside. But the Archaeopteryxes in the air, like reconnaissance drones, blocked Little Tangerine's path wherever he went, and they were nearly attacked by the dodos several times. I then advised Ancient Ape, first, take down the 3 Archaeopteryxes overhead. They're leading the way for the weird bird and the dodos. Ancient Ape quickly understood, grabbed a vine, and jumped from Little Tangerine. The Archaeopteryxes were startled to find Ancient Ape missing. Silly bird, looking for me? I'm right here. Ancient Ape leaped down, entangling a vine around one Archaeopteryx. The other 2, unable to break in time, also crashed into it. The 3 Archaeopteryxes were entangled by the vines and couldn't escape. How about that, silly bird? This is the bird-catching net dragon bro taught me. I shouted to Ancient Ape, be careful. The Deathlark is right behind you. A gust of wind blew towards Ancient Ape's back, but fortunately, she clung tightly to the tree trunk, preventing her from being blown away. At this moment, I had already reached behind the Deathlark, ramming into her with my thorn armor, and I fired the wolf bomb at her. Watching Wolverine stand on the explosive bomb, the Deathlark exclaimed. She ducked her neck, dodging the attack, and taunted me about my poor aim. The next second, Wolverine forcefully stepped on the explosive bomb, which suddenly changed direction and smashed toward the Deathlark. The Deathlark wasn't panicked. This thing only has power on the 3rd hit. She hadn't finished her sentence when a blow landed heavily on her neck, as it was indeed the 3rd hit. Are you poor at numbers? Count again. Wolverine didn't give the Deathlark a chance to recover, aiming for the spot hit by the explosive bomb and executing his Dazzle Slash. The 2 attacks hit the same spot, sending the weird bird plummeting downwards. At that moment, Ancient Ape let out a sigh of relief. That was close. I almost got caught. Little Tangerine, run. We're almost there. Meanwhile, injured by me and Wolverine, the Deathlark was furious. The next second, she went berserk. You sneaky bastards. I won't let you off. A flock of dodos chased after Ancient Ape while Little Tangerine desperately sprinted. At that moment, the Deathlark suddenly realized, this seems to be Venom's territory. What is that female monkey up to? But Venom is already dead. I want to see what you can pull off. Watching Little Tangerine and others dive into Venom's cave, the dodos in front suddenly stopped abruptly, the ones behind crashing into them. They trembled in fear at the entrance of Venom's cave. At that time, Ancient Ape laughed from inside the cave. Mission accomplished. But when she turned around, she realized the weird bird hadn't followed. At that moment, the Deathlark was yelling at her minions. You useless things. Venom has already been taken down. What are you still afraid of? Get in there and capture that female monkey. Ancient Ape thought to herself, most monsters dare not step foot here. But it seems the weird bird knows Venom is gone. What to do? Suddenly, an idea struck her. Since these guys are so scared of Venom, what if I mimic Venom's roar? Will they run away in terror? The next second, a roar resembling Venom's echoed from the cave. A drop of cold sweat slid down the forehead of the Deathlark. Damn it, that roar. The Archaeopteryx and the dodos were so frightened that they turned and fled. What a bunch of idiots. Can't you tell someone is mimicking Venom's roar? The Deathlark cursed. Meanwhile, Ancient Ape was still in the cave, continuing to prepare. As Ancient Ape kept mimicking Venom's roar, watching her fleeing minions, the Deathlark was so enraged her veins bulged. You cowards. All of you get out of my way. At that moment, Wolverine appeared on the hillside, raised his hand to cut off a huge rock, which then rolled down the hill, heading straight for the Deathlark. The Deathlark barely managed to brace herself with her limbs, and at that moment, I leapt from the top of the hill. Rolling gourd, dragon kill, rolling gourd, thorn armor. With a bang, I crashed hard into the Deathlark, and with a crackling sound, we both tumbled into the depths of the cave. With another bang, I landed hard on the ground, rubbing my old back, and wondered, did I turn into human form because the fall was too painful? Where's that bird? I saw the Deathlark not far from me, also transformed back into human form, and she was a girl with torn black stockings. You arrogant weird bird, beaten back into your original form by me. How about that? Are you convinced now? However, the bird girl immediately rushed over and bit me. Even that Wolverine doesn't bite like this. Don't think that just because you're a girl now, I won't fight back. Just then, I saw the scars on her neck and couldn't help feeling a pang of sympathy. Just as I reached out to check her injuries, she slapped my hand away. Sorry, did I hurt you? Only then did the bird girl realize she had also transformed into human form. Blushing profusely, she slowly backed away, covering her torn clothes. Just at that moment, Wolverine's big blade was at her neck. Don't move. Move again, and I'll cut off your neck. How about it, arrogant girl? Now do you admit it? The 3 of us together, even with your full power unleashed, a disaster level like you still fell to us, didn't you? The bird girl, still defiant, used full power against against you guys? You think too highly of yourselves. Those feathers are incredibly precious to me. Why would I waste them on you weaklings? Still being stubborn. If you transform back into a monster bird now, aren't you practically bald? Caught by my words, the bird girl immediately became unhappy. Dare you let me transform back into a monster? Aren't you afraid I'll swallow you all in one bite? I just smiled indifferently. In this cave, I'm really not afraid of you turning back into a monster bird. By the way, what happened to the wound on your neck? Ancient Ape and I have had similar wounds before. At this, the bird girl became serious and explained, you should know, no matter how severely injured the dead rotten reptiles are, they always recover quickly. To kill them, I had to consume them entirely, but the toxins in their bodies have caused me great pain. The scars on my neck are a side effect. Ancient Ape chimed in, smacking her lips. I used to eat dead rotten reptiles raw too. They're not only disgusting, but also cause stomach pain. But after meeting Dragon Brother, his flames not only kill the dead rotten reptiles, but also roast them perfectly, and with a bit of seasoning, they taste really delicious. Though reluctant to admit it, the bird girl conceded, although I hate to acknowledge it, your flames do indeed kill the dead rotten reptiles, which is more than any other monster here can claim. Hearing her say that, I was thrilled. Does this mean you agree to join us in taking on the king of the dead rotten reptiles? But Bird's sister responded haughtily, 3 rookies beating me once, and you expect me to look at you differently? Dream on. I still need to observe more. Wolverine, get your crappy blade away from me. Don't point it at me. Since you're not objecting, I'll take that as a yes. I laughed. Since we're all partners now, let's get to know each other better. I don't need to introduce Ape's sister. Everyone knows her. My name is Lin Yuan. I come from the deep sea. I arrived at this island by chance, was deeply attracted by its beauty, and met Ape's sister, so I decided to settle here. Mr. Wolverine, I'm curious why you have so many human weapons, and can even use human fighting skills. As for Bird's sister, I'd really like to know your story with the transformation fruit tree. At this point, Wolverine turned his head away. I never agreed to join you in fighting the king of the dead rotten reptiles, so my story is not up for discussion right now. Bird's sister urged me not to expect much from Wolverine, calling him a coward who wouldn't dare confront the king of the dead rotten reptiles directly. Wolverine retorted, I'm not like you, weird bird. You might disregard your subordinates, but I can't. I have to protect my people. Bird's sister didn't back down. Don't act like a saint. Don't think I don't know what those pieces of junk you're protecting are worth. What did you say? Wolverine said angrily. Neither back down, and the air was thick with tension. Watching them glare at each other, I felt helpless. Cut it. We are friends now. I turned to Bird's sister. What about you? How did you discover the transformation fruit? And how did you know it could condense the life essence of monsters into a nucleus? Bird's sister haughtily replied, why should I tell you? Are we close? I was stunned. Damn, these two proud freaks. Why are you two guys so difficult? To show my sincerity, I exchanged for 2 life fruits from the marketplace, tossing one to Bird's sister and explaining, this is the life fruit I mentioned before. It can treat your baldness. I hadn't finished speaking when I was hit by a bitter gourd. What bald? You're the one who's bald. I don't even know who I offended. At this time, Ancient Ape explained, Bird's sister, this fruit not only heals your wounds, but also enhances your strength. Dragon bro, do you have any more of those fruits? Give me another one. Let our new friend have them first. I replied. Bird's sister pondered for a moment. The thing seemed to appear out of thin air in his hands just now, but given the female monkey's expression, it must be real. After that, I handed another life fruit to Wolverine. Mr. Wolverine, I've always been curious. Why is it that you, having eaten the transformation fruit just like the rest of us, seem unaffected even after a great battle? Remember when we first met? Ape's sister almost died because her body couldn't handle the energy from the crystal nucleus after eating the transformation fruit. Do you feel anything unusual with your body now? Wolverine replied, so that's what it is. I felt changes in my body, but as a warrior constantly pushing my limits, I see it as a form of training. I stepped forward, clapped him on the shoulder, and said, as expected of Mr. Wolverine, mighty and impressive. The next second, the robust Wolverine unexpectedly sat down heavily. Mr. Wolverine, what's wrong? If your body really can't handle it, don't force yourself. Eat the life fruit first. It can strengthen your body and help you resist the storm energy inside. Also, you probably can't transform back into a monster now, but no worries. I can teach you how to switch freely between monster and human forms. Hearing this, Bird's sister was utterly shocked. How is that possible? Isn't your transformation into human form due to unstable energy within you? Also, when did you eat the transformation fruit? Bird's sister asked. Puzzled, I proudly said, nothing is impossible with me. I am like Shinong found the curative virtues of herbs, and I took the initiative to test it for Ape's sister regardless of the possible danger. However, Ancient Ape couldn't help but interject. How come I remember Dragon Brother accidentally ate the transformation fruit in a moment of pride? Although she didn't understand what how did Shinong find the curative virtues of herbs meant, Ape's sister thought, why does Dragon Brother narrate such an embarrassing event so righteously? Bird's sister didn't believe what I said. You can't possibly control the energy of the transformation fruit. It's simple. Just give me another transformation fruit, and I'll show you how Mr. Wolverine can change forms at will. Then you'll have to believe me. Hearing this, Bird's sister was fuming. You dare ask me for another transformation fruit? It was because of you that the transformation fruit tree got damaged last time. Really? Then where did you get the transformation fruit you gave to Mr. Wolverine. At this point, Wolverine interjected, how could a self-serving weird bird like you not keep something for yourself? You call me self-serving when you're the one hoarding junk. I do it for the entire Abyss Island. If you dare call my clansmen junk again, believe it or not, I'll teach you a lesson. As they started bickering again, I quickly intervened. Alright, can we talk nicely? Stop fighting. It's not good for your health. Fine. They reluctantly stopped. I indeed collected some transformation fruits to enhance my strength. Ugly dragon, I can give you a transformation fruit, but you must prove what you said is true in front of me. If you can really control the energy of the transformation fruit, I'll consider joining you. It's a deal. I agreed. Actually, it's not that I don't want to tell you about the place. It's just that you simply can't get there. That place is too dangerous for you guys. Swamp of Bones. Have you heard of it? That's where the transformation fruit is hidden. Swamp of Bones, of all places? Wolverine said helplessly. That place is beyond the reach of you ground crawlers. Only those of us who are high above can come and go freely. Bird's sister said proudly. Ugly bird, think you're special because you can fly? Didn't I chop you down more than once just now? Wolverine retorted. Ugly wolf, that was just me not paying attention. If you're not convinced, let's go outside and have a rematch. At this point, I was too tired to keep mediating between these two quarrelers, so I asked Ancient Ape if she knew about Swamp of Bones, but she also looked puzzled. I had to play peacemaker again. Why are you two arguing again? What exactly is this Swamp of Bones? At this time, Bird's sister explained, Swamp of Bones can be called the graveyard of all monsters. Not only is it filled with fog that obscures vision, but it also harbors powerful monsters that lurk in the thick mist and attack prey unexpectedly, and even carnivorous plants. Any monster that strays into the swamp is almost certainly doomed. How about that? Wolverine advised. You don't need to go to such a dangerous place for me. I'm not planning to turn back into a giant wolf. I can handle the monster energy inside me. Hearing about carnivorous plants, I was filled with anticipation. That could be a huge source of evolution points. Which direction is Swamp of Bones? How do I get there? Hearing this, Bird's sister became exasperated. Stupid dragon, are you even listening to me? Are you really willing to go to such a dangerous place just for this foolish wolf? I was resolute to prove it to you, and for Mr. Wolverine, I must go to that place. Ancient Ape also chimed in. For Mr. Wolverine, no matter how dangerous, we must go. Ah, don't worry, Ape sister. Once we're in the swamp, I have my ways. I believe in Dragon Brother. These two idiots. Bird's sister thought to herself, Lin Yuan looks pretty smart. Has he become dumb from spending too much time with that silly monkey? Alright, since you've made up your mind, I'll let the dodo birds carry you over as compensation for giving me this fruit. No need. The life fruit is a welcome gift from me. Ancient Ape and I will transform into monsters and walk over. It's faster that way, I said, while striking a pose. Wolverine said seriously, do you really know why it's called the graveyard of monsters? Small monsters might barely make it through that swamp, but for large monsters like you and Ancient Ape, one step and you'll sink into the swamp, stuck and unable to move. It's best for you to go in human form and let the dodo birds carry you so you won't sink. Mr. Wolverine has a point. Although I have a few ways to get through, it's more convenient if the dodo birds can get through. Then I thank Bird's sister for her kindness in advance. Speaking of which, why aren't you two eating the life fruit? Afraid I've poisoned it. Seeing Wolverine bite into it without hesitation, Bird's sister followed suit. Damn, what is this thing? It tastes awful. But the next second, their bodies were enveloped in a green glow light, and Bird's sister felt light all over. Bird's sister's body felt incredibly relaxed, and a ticklish sensation came from where the scar was on her neck. Feeling the benefits, they no longer found the fruit distasteful and started to eat with gusto. It's really healing, and I feel full of strength. Maybe this fruit can actually make my fallen feathers grow back. Bird's sister looked at me with stars in her eyes. Dragon, do you have any more of these fruits? I want to trade a transformation fruit with you. When I politely declined her offer, Bird's sister pouted like a child, annoyed. So stingy. Since you're not willing to trade, I have only a limited number of transformation fruits stored, so you can only have one. Watching Bird's sister's drastic change of attitude, I laughed. That stuff is no use to me. One is enough for me. Once we left the cave, Bird's sister whistled, and soon, several dodo birds arrived. Ugly dragon, now they're your mounts, but you're not allowed to eat them. Don't worry, I wouldn't chew on my means of transportation no matter how hungry I get. Ancient Ape and I struck a pose, and our bodies began to emit a golden light. At this moment, Bird's sister looked at us bewildered. The golden light faded, and Ancient Ape and I had transformed back into our monster forms. Little Tangerine, you've worked hard. You head back to my cave and keep watch. Watching us transform so effortlessly into monsters, Bird's sister was shocked. What kind of power is this that lets them easily harness the energy of the transformation fruit? They seem to transform much more easily and freely than I can. After saying goodbye to Bird's sister, Ancient Ape and I ran forward with big strides, followed by our three little followers. As the sun set, we reached a strange place. Wolverine said, just over the next hill is Swamp of Bones. Feeling a bit faint, I suggested, let's eat something and rest first. I'm so hungry. Ape's sister and I can only turn back into humans once a day. Let's start moving again tomorrow. Hearing the mention of food, Ape's sister's spirits immediately lifted. Dragon brother, I'll go hunting right away. Alright, thanks for your hard work, Ape's sister. I'll gather some firewood. As night fell, several skewers of meat were ready, and the three of us began to enjoy the feast. Wolverine lay down on a piece of meat, devouring it voraciously. Watching Wolverine relish his meal, I smiled broadly. I knew no one can say no to delicious food. The best way to win over a wolf is through his stomach. At that moment, Wolverine, while eating, shed tears. This is the flavor, the taste of roasted meat. He couldn't help but recall the times he spent with his master. Just then, I dug up the soil under the fire. Come on, try the beggar's chicken I made. Smelling the aroma, Wolverine immediately drooled. He took the chicken leg I handed him, his eyes brimming with tears. I haven't tasted such delicious food in over a decade. Mr. Wolverine, did you often eat delicious meals made by your master before? Don't try to get information out of me. When I think the time is right, I will tell you everything. I want you to think again about whether you really want to enter Swamp of Bones. You don't need to go to such a dangerous place for me. I'm not planning to turn back into a giant wolf. Although I've never been to Swamp of Bones, I've heard from a subordinate who barely escaped that, aside from the lurking monsters, the most terrifying are the carnivorous plants that use tentacles to ambush prey. Hearing this, I frowned, annoyed. You really don't know how to appreciate kindness. I can't stand your overbearing attitude. Do you think you can resist the energy of the crystal nucleus inside you? Do you think, as a human, you can slay Deathlark and other monsters? I admit, you're strong in human form, but it's not a long-term solution. Eventually, your body will burst from the energy, and it won't be a pretty death. Also, Ape Sister and I came here voluntarily. You don't owe us any favors. I take you as my friend, and I won't see my friend die and do nothing. After hearing my words, Wolverine fell silent. That night, Wolverine volunteered to keep watch, allowing Ancient Ape and me to rest. He lay on a tree trunk, pondering my words. I haven't agreed to anything yet, and this guy already considers me a friend. My master once said that humans are the most dangerous creatures, but this guy is as naive as a wolf pup, a truly strange human. Just then, rustling sounds came from afar. Wolverine climbed to a high spot and saw from the direction of Swamp of Bones roaring sounds and several green glowing tentacles waving. The next morning, we entered Swamp of Bones. The journey was uneventful. It was almost like walking through the jungle on a dodo bird. This mist and swamp aren't that dangerous, are they? I said lightly. Wolverine remained vigilant, reminding, don't let your guard down. The deeper we go, the thicker the fog and the muddier the swamp. At that moment, Ancient Ape spotted a tree trunk across the swamp that seemed quite tricky. Out of curiosity, she approached it. Wolverine quickly warned her not to touch anything. Just then, a leg extended from the trunk. It was a mutated dead tree mantis, 7 meters tall and weighing 6.5 tons, skilled at camouflaging itself as a dead tree to ambush unsuspecting prey. At that moment, the dead tree mantis looked at Ancient Ape as if eyeing its prey. The next second, it opened its sharp sides, ready to chop at Ancient Ape's waist. The dodo birds, frightened, had their feathers stand on end. Ancient Ape quickly squatted down to gather strength, then leaped up sharply. With a swoosh, a scythe sliced through, easily slicing the dodo bird in two. Landing, Ancient Ape's feet sank into the swamp. In her panic, she desperately tried to pull her feet out, but no matter how hard she struggled, it was futile. She only sank deeper. I quickly warned Ancient Ape, don't move, while urging the dodo bird to get closer to pull her up. At that moment, the dead tree mantis again raised its sharp scythe, ready to strike. The situation for Ancient Ape and I was very dangerous. Wolverine rushed to the front of the dead tree mantis and struck it with a slash. This blow changed the direction of the mantis's attack, the scythe missing me by whiskers as I took the opportunity to pull Ancient Ape out of the swamp. Wolverine was inwardly shocked. This guy's shell is so hard. Seeing that his attack was unsuccessful, the dead tree mantis locked its target on Wolverine, quickly catching up and raising its sharp scythes, ready to slice Wolverine in half. At that moment, the dodo bird desperately ran, but was ultimately unable to escape and was split in two. Wolverine quickly leaped into the air, shouting for me to take Ancient Ape and leave first. He faced the dead tree mantis, his body suddenly bursting with golden light, using his golden radiance slash to swiftly move through the mantis's body, cutting it into pieces. Just as he was about to fall into the swamp, I rode the dodo bird over just in time to catch him. Damn, even the insects here are so huge. Who knows what dangers lie further inside? Bird Sister's transportation got totally wrecked. I wonder if that bad-tempered bird will ask me for compensation, I said helplessly. Wolverine suggested, it's still possible to go back now. I immediately dismissed his idea. Going back now would only make us a laughing stock for that ugly bird. Plus, you really need the transformation fruit. Wolverine was concerned that now with only one dodo bird left, we could not reach deep into the Swamp of Bones. But for me, that was hardly a problem. Mr. Wolverine, please cut some fairly wide bark with your blade. Ape Sister, you climb trees the fastest. I need you to pull down those vines. As Wolverine and I watched Ancient Ape climb a sturdy tree, suddenly, another large scythe came swinging at us from behind. Wolverine, taken aback, pulled me up high. The dodo bird beneath us was instantly sliced in two. Damn, there's more. That's the last ride gone too, I said in despair. Two more dead tree mantises arrived. Seeing that things were turning sour, Wolverine advised me to climb the tree. I had no choice but to agree. It's the only way now. However, seeing us climb, the mantises below suddenly spread their wings and followed us up. How did I forget that mantises can fly? I exclaimed in terror. The fastest one approached approached Wolverine, swinging its scythe at him. Wolverine quickly slid down to dodge the attack. Then with a leap, he stabbed the mantis in the neck. While Wolverine was entangled with that mantis, the other two rapidly approached me. I dodged a slash from one, but another raised its scythe toward me, picking on me because I'm smaller. Watch how I fight back. I jumped directly at the mantis, and before it could react, I had leaped onto its back, concentrating all my energy into my teeth. Sparks began to flicker around me. Picking on me? Taste my burst bite. I'll bite you to death. I viciously bit into the back of the mantis, tearing off a large chunk of flesh. The dead tree mantis, in pain, frantically shook its body trying to throw me off. No way, I thought to myself. Just then, bubbles began to surface in the swamp. The next second, a red tongue stretched out from the swamp, quickly wrapping around the dead tree mantis beneath me. What is this slimy thing? It's disgusting, I exclaimed. Suddenly, a giant toad emerged from the swamp. The system indicated it was a mutated swamp toad, 20 meters long and weighing 18 tons, which likes to lurk in the swamp waiting for prey. As the giant toad dragged the mantis down, I quickly jumped off the mantis. As I jumped, Ancient Ape swung over with a vine. Dragon brother, grab my hand. I quickly grabbed Ancient Ape's hand and swung toward a large tree. Just as we landed on the tree, I immediately lay flat on the trunk. Everyone stay down and don't move. The big toad only reacts to moving objects. We three lay on the tree, watching as the giant toad captured the last dead tree mantis and swallowed it with a gulp. Then it began to shake its body, looking for our traces. At that moment, I muttered to myself, "You can't see me, you can't see me." Just then, the giant toad suddenly inhaled sharply, and the next second, a thick phlegm was expelled from its mouth. This thing can spit. Boom! The toad's spit hit like a cannonball, breaking the tree Wolverine was on in half. Wolverine fell from the tree. As the toad noticed, its tongue swiftly extended, wrapping around Wolverine's body. Just as it was about to retract its tongue and swallow Wolverine, he bit into a nearby tree trunk. The toad's tongue was instantly stretched tight, and neither would let go, creating a tug-of-war. Ape's sister and I quickly swung over with vines to rescue Wolverine. "Mr. Wolverine, quickly throw me your blade. I'll use it to chop off the giant toad's tongue." Seeing my position, Wolverine mumbled with the blade in his mouth, "Catch," and then threw the blade towards me. "Don't worry, I've got this." Just as I was confidently ready to catch the blade, it slipped through my fingers and fell straight down. Seeing this, Wolverine cursed at me. "Give me back my blade, you big idiot." He let go in frustration and was immediately pulled down by the giant toad. "Who told you to let go? You're the idiot." I yelled at the carcass of the mantis, shouting to Ape's sister, "Quickly swing over." We quickly picked up the front limbs of the dead tree mantis. Just as Wolverine was about to be swallowed, I used the mantis's claw to swiftly cut the giant toad's tongue, and the tongue wrapping Wolverine instantly slid off. He used a vine to leap onto the giant toad's head and plunged the long blade into the toad's body, enveloping him in a burst of light. The giant toad didn't even have time to scream before it was done for. Wolverine is really impressive. "You idiot, give me back my blade," Wolverine shouted angrily. I hastily apologized to Wolverine like a grandson. "Mr. Wolverine, don't worry, I'll give you a new one another day," I said. At that moment, Ape's sister pointed in a direction and said, "The blade is over there." Seeing the blade, Wolverine immediately lay down on the ground, then jumped over and picked up the blade with tears streaming down his face, caressing it like it was his child. After that little incident, I had Wolverine and Ape's sister continue to collect bark and vines. Soon, I used the leaves to make shoes suitable for traveling through the swamp. Wolverine kept praising it as a good method, but asked curiously, "What's the use of the vines on your back?" I explained, "Those are grappling hooks, just in case we need them." Indeed, humans are good at using materials around them to make handy tools. "Although I'm in human form, I still have a lot to learn from you," Wolverine remarked. As the three of us proceeded through the swamp, suddenly, the cry of a human baby echoed from ahead, sounding particularly terrifying in the swamp of bones. I looked confused. Why would there be a baby crying here? Neither Ape's sister nor Wolverine had ever heard a baby's cry before and looked bewildered. Just as Wolverine asked me what that sound was, speculating whether there might be humans in the swamp, the baby's crying suddenly stopped. Did I hear it wrong? I wondered, not dwelling on it much longer, and continued leading them forward. Just then, the small hill behind us suddenly moved, revealing a pair of crimson eyes. Through the massive shadow, I saw a gigantic monster charging towards us. This was a giant salamander, 25 meters long and weighing 27 tons, known for its sharp teeth. Once bitten by it, it's generally hard to escape. Seeing its rows of sharp teeth, we quickly jumped aside, dodging its attack and running forward. The giant salamander face planted into the mud, but in the swamp, we couldn't outrun the enormous creature behind us. As the giant salamander drew closer, Ape's sister, who was falling behind, became increasingly in danger. "Throw your vine up to the branch above," I shouted urgently. Ape's sister didn't hesitate for a moment, swinging her vine and successfully hooking it onto a branch ahead. Just in the nick of time, we used the vine to dodge the giant salamander's attack again, which made it furiously thrash around in the swamp, continuing to chase us. Just then, I shivered all over. I saw another pair of crimson eyes appear ahead. "Holy crap, that's another even bigger monster," I exclaimed. Wolverine yelled, "Retreat quickly," but it was obviously too late now. If it caught us with its rows of sharp teeth, we'd be done for. The giant salamander doesn't doesn't rip its prey, it swallows it whole. Recalling the last time I was swallowed by a giant beast, I shouted, "I'll hold it off." I jumped down first, thinking, a monster can withstand their stomach acid, and I'll figure something out inside. If need be, I'll just transform back into monster form. Along the way, Wolverine was incredibly calm, as if none of this concerned him at all. Just like that, we stumbled and were swallowed. What the hell? Something just hit my back, I yelled. Once we got up, Wolverine looked around at the stomach walls, and Ape's sister wrinkled her nose. This place really smells freaking terrible. I didn't get the chance to take a bite of the dead tree mantis and the giant toad. Now I couldn't miss this opportunity. So, I bit hard into the stomach wall. Ape's sister immediately threw up her meal from last night, and Wolverine looked helplessly on. I wonder what skills I'll pop for the first time swallowing this thing, I muttered. The system alert. You have successfully devoured a giant salamander. Evolution points plus 1,500. Congratulations on your first devouring of a giant salamander. You have gained a special skill. Giant salamanders cry. You can emit a baby-like cry like a giant salamander, attracting strong salamander around you to hunt you. Little Kun, how could you give me something like this? I don't have many chances to acquire new skills. I couldn't help but lavish praise on the little Kun. Thus, I kept devouring relentlessly. Ape's sister looked at me sympathetically. Dragon brother, I remember we just ate before we left this morning. Why are you so hungry? Wolverine pulled out his blade. Are you planning to gnaw this monster open with your mouth? There's no need for that. Even though it's cramped here, I'm confident I can split it open from the inside. Suddenly, the giant salamander's body started shaking violently, emitting a rumbling sound. It seems like this guy is rolling around. I suddenly thought, giant salamanders are naturally ferocious and will cannibalize each other when starving. Could it be that this beast is fighting with the previous one? At that moment, just as I had guessed, the two giant beasts were indeed fighting each other. Soon, the smaller one was defeated, and the larger one was about to swallow it. Feeling the quiet outside, I immediately had a bad feeling. If it swallows us, the larger one probably won. If it also swallows the other one, we might not be dissolved by the stomach acid, but we could be crushed to death. Wolverine's body radiated golden light. He placed the blade to his mouth, and with a flash of golden light, he slashed the giant salamander in half. We successfully escaped from the salamander's body. Ape's sister greedily inhaled the fresh air outside, and Wolverine, seeing the scene in front of him, had even more respect for me. The situation outside turned out just as Lin Yuan thought. The other giant beast has already been half swallowed, Wolverine said. Ape's sister looked at me confusedly. Dragon brother, we're all out. Why are you still eating? You don't understand. This thing is tender and delicious. Too bad I can't breathe fire now, or it would taste even better roasted, I said with a grin. Upon hearing this, Ape's sister immediately drooled. Wolverine looked around and warned us, we better leave quickly. Who knows if there are other giant salamanders around? Ape's sister, the foodie, continued to eat while walking, carrying a large piece of giant salamander meat on her back, which left Wolverine speechless. Soon after, we reached the depths of the Swamp of Bones, where the swamp was muddier than before. Thankfully, there were enough exposed roots to step on. After walking a bit further, a red mist ahead, not only obscuring our view, but also carrying a rotten smell. Before long, Ape's sister started feeling dizzy. Dragon brother, I'm feeling a bit dizzy. I also felt slightly unwell and asked, Mr. Wolverine, do you feel weak? Wolverine rubbed his temples, indicating he felt the same. As I was pondering, Ape's sister pointed ahead, and we saw a giant flower appear before us. The system alerted. This is a mutated titan mushroom, standing 10 meters tall, with a huge flower that emits a foul smell. Its scent toxic to all but insects. I quickly covered my mouth, shocked. I didn't expect this flower to be poisonous. I immediately summoned Little Kun and hastily asked him, do you have any gas masks? The next second, Little Kun began to retch. I frowned and asked again, this flower is poisonous. Do you have any gas masks or not? Little Kun replied, a gas mask requires 10 million evolution points. 10 million evolution points? That's robbery. I complained helplessly, then asked, what about clothes that are torn? Can you fix them? Yes. It only takes 1,000 evolution points for automatic repair, Little Kun answered. I immediately tore off my clothes and handed them to Wolverine and Ape's sister. Use these, moisten them, then cover your nose and mouth to filter some of the poisonous gas. What should we use to moisten it? Wolverine asked, puzzled. I explained helplessly. Animals generally use urine to mark their territory. We are dizzy because the flower's scent is poisonous. Wetting the cloth can better filter out some of the poisonous gases. Hearing this, Wolverine commented, that must be a human method. The two of us turned around to relieve ourselves. Ape's sister, embarrassed, turned bright red, not knowing what to do. Knowing that it was inconvenient for her as a girl, I offered her a piece of cloth. Use mine, I have plenty. Holding the specially scented cloth, Ape's sister struggled to adapt but had no other choice. Just as we got equipped and were about to set off again, a hissing sound came from ahead. Suddenly, a 5-meter-long, 2-ton mutated titan beetle appeared in front of us, hissing menacingly. The titan mushroom used the scent of rotting flesh to attract insects for pollination, unexpectedly drawing in such a behemoth. Knowing that such a large flower would not attract anything simple, Wolverine drew his great sword, ready to fight. The titan beetle charged at us without hesitation, giving us no chance to breathe. Wolverine leaped into the air, wrapped enveloped in golden light, and performed a gold slash, landing it fiercely on the beetle, which instantly died, sliding several meters across the ground. Just as Wolverine pulled out his sword, another hissing sound came from behind, and several more titan beetles appeared beneath the large flower, charging at us. We had almost nowhere to run and had to flee like rats. As we leaped over a protruding tree root, some strange plants appeared in front of us. Seeing these plants, the titan beetles suddenly stopped, and just then, a larger plant suddenly devoured the titan beetles. It was a mutated Venus flytrap, a plant specialized in eating mutated insects, its leaves covered in sharp blades. Hearing the commotion behind us, we turned to see that the beetles chasing us had been largely consumed by the flytrap. The remaining beetles continued to charge at us, dumb as rocks, not giving up even in this situation. Just as we prepared to keep running, I suddenly felt a shock and looked down to see a Venus flytrap quickly closing around us. Without time to think, I threw myself at Ape's sister and Wolverine, pushing them away just as the plant snapped shut, trapping me inside. Seeing me trapped, Ape's sister was very distressed and desperately tried to pull me out, but my shoulder and right leg were pierced by spikes, making it impossible to move. Wolverine drew his blade, ready to split the leaf apart. Just then, a titan beetle charged over, its sharp antennae smashing the flytrap, and I was miraculously saved by the beetle. But the impact was so strong that I tumbled backward. Alright, Ape's sister quickly pulled me back, but seeing the slick liquid around us, I urgently yelled, "Don't come any closer," but it was too late. Ape's sister slipped, and we both fell. With a splash, we both dropped into an unknown liquid. I surfaced, spitting out the liquid in my mouth, and the system informed us this is a mutated pitcher plant capable of preying on giant insects. The interior of the pitcher plant was filled with a corrosive liquid capable of drowning and dissolving its prey. At that moment, the pitcher plant's lid closed, and looking around, I couldn't see Ape's sister anywhere. I took a deep breath and dove into the liquid. Inside, I found the viscous and highly corrosive mucus was not only sticky but also painful on my wounds. Soon, I found Ape's sister trapped in the mucus. The mucus was too dangerous. She wouldn't last long. I can breathe underwater, but Ape's sister can't. To save her, I had no choice but to transform back into a monster. Though as a monster, my body would sink quickly into the muck, I couldn't worry about that now. As gold light spilled out inside the pitcher plant, I transformed back into my monster form. Instantly, my body sank into the marsh-like mucus. I shouted to Wolverine, "Mr. Wolverine, catch," and then threw Ape's sister toward him. At that moment, Ape's sister looked anxiously at my sinking body, but their sizes couldn't possibly pull me out. They needed something that could bear my weight. Wolverine pointed to a nearby tree. "Ape's sister, see that tree? Its vines should hold Lin Yuan's weight." Without hesitation, enveloped in golden light, Ape's sister transformed into her ancient ape form and quickly leaped to the big tree. Once there, she grabbed a sturdy vine and called out, "Dragon brother, catch." "Well done, Ape's sister." I grabbed the vine and slowly pulled myself out with its help. Lucky there was that tree nearby, otherwise, I'd be doomed. Looking at the tree, something seemed odd. On closer inspection, I was shocked. Above the tree, many animal skeletons were entwined by the vines. At that moment, the system pinged. "This is a legendary cannibal tree, the most terrifying entity in Swamp of Bones. No monster can escape once trapped in its vines." In shock, I yelled to Ape's sister, "Get down from there. That tree is dangerous." But the naive Ape's sister seemed to completely misunderstand. Just as she looked up, a vine below suddenly moved. The next second, it tightly wrapped around her and dragged her up the tree. Seeing this, Wolverine quickly approached to help, but unexpectedly another vine appeared in front of him and flung him away. Seeing such ferocity from the cannibal tree, I gathered a radioactive heat ray in my mouth, ready to teach it a lesson. Aiming at the vine holding Ape's sister, I sprayed it with the ray, igniting the vine, which reluctantly released her. But the next second, the vine, seemingly sentient, violently plunged into the swamp below. Holy crap, it knew to use the swamp to extinguish the fire. What came next was even more jaw-dropping. Numerous vines dove into the swamp, seemingly trying to wet themselves to counteract my flames. After landing, an infuriated Ape's sister charged at the tree, wildly biting at the vines. I quickly cautioned, "Ape's sister, be careful. Don't act rashly." Right then, the big tree shook out the vines that had been soaked by the swamp, whipping them rapidly through the air as if gearing up for a new assault. Before long, the vines even formed into a massive palm. Seeing this, Wolverine was astonished and quickly ran toward us. This tree has really come to life. In the next second, a fist made of vines hammered down towards Ape's sister, who managed to leap back and dodge the blow, only to strike back with her fists. However, hitting the massive fist had no effect. Another pot-sized fist appeared behind Ape's sister, swiftly slamming into her side. Ape's sister couldn't dodge in time and was struck. Seeing Ape's sister been hit, I was enraged. Damn it, I didn't expect this tree to know combination punches. I'll burn both your hands. But in the next moment, a bump from the cannibal tree hit my groin, and it really made me start questioning life. Unbelievably, this sentient tree is cheating. As Ape's sister and I couldn't move, countless vines attacked, wrapping us up tight. "Put me down. This doesn't count. I demand a decent fight." Just then, Wolverine burst into golden light, attempting to use his gold slash to cut the vines and save me and Ape's sister. The cannibal tree, using me as a shield, twisted its vines. Damn it, this tree knows to use Lin Yuan to threaten me? Wolverine had to slam on the brakes, barely missing my vital parts, but his blade still grazed my body. That was close. Is this really just a tree? While Wolverine was pondering, another giant vine hand appeared, shaping a flicking gesture directly at him. The next second, like swatting a fly, the vine sent Wolverine flying, buying me precious time. I began to gather my explosive breath, ready to teach this sneaky tree a lesson, but before I could launch it, the vines had already tightly wrapped around my mouth, completely stopping any attack. Soon after, Wolverine was bound and brought in front of me, the binding vines tightening their grip. Now we were really done for. This tree planned to strangle us and then drain us dry. As I struggled to breathe, feeling like I was about to burst, I thought, is this really how it ends? Frustrated, I immediately summoned Little Coin and asked how many evolution points we had saved up. Upon learning I had 2.1 million evolution points, I instructed Little Coin to invest them all into increasing my height. Bound so tightly by the tree, if I could just grow larger, I was sure I could break these vines. As my body was enveloped in golden light, the vines made a cracking sound, and then with a snap, the first vine broke. My body rapidly expanded, breaking all the vines as anticipated, reaching a height of 70 meters and a weight of 700 tons. Seeing my transformation, Ape's sister and Wolverine were dumbfounded, their mouths agape. Free from the vines, I fell downwards, adjusting my angle midair, and unleashed my most powerful move, Burst Breath. The recoil sent me crashing back into the swamp. My burst breath hit the tree, piercing right through the body of the monstrous plant. Still not letting people go after being hit? Then let me show you a taste of my light sword. I unleashed another blast of burst breath towards the tree top, then swung my head to transform the blast into a sword, slicing horizontally. After the attack, the vines binding Ape's sister and Wolverine broke, and I successfully rescued them. Ape's sister, hold on, I'm looking for some vines to pull you up. Ape's sister anxiously said, don't worry about me or this monster will catch you again. I loudly stopped her. I yelled at the strange tree, monster tree, I know you can understand me. Are you going to continue fighting? This time I will cut you in half. Unexpectedly, the next second, the big tree actually spoke. Damn it, I give up. No more fighting. No more fighting. Not only could this tree talk, but it even used human language, which completely shocked us. The tree put on a rustic facade, claiming it never intended to kill us from the start, feeling that we were different from other monsters, just curious to test our strength. Cut it out. Who knows if you're just scared of us now? You almost popped our eyes out. You were way too harsh. I retorted. I'm not scared of you. You're stuck in the swamp now. If I don't help you, do you really think you can get out on your own? The tree retorted, unconvinced. Since Ape's sister and I had already turned back into monsters, there were many ways we could get out. Giant salamander cry. Hey, I didn't hit you. Why the crying? Don't think about blackmailing me. I won't fall for that. The tree shouted. I ignored it, pricking up my ears to listen for noises in the distance. Here it comes. Ape's sister, pick up some of the vines that fell on the ground. Our old acquaintance is about to arrive. Soon enough, a big one came wobbling over, muttering as it walked. I heard there was a weakling calling around here, just in time to fill my belly. Where's the weakling? The next second, it looked up, its eyes suddenly wide with shock. There was Ape's sister, twirling her vine in hand, smiling mischievously at it. Realizing it had been tricked, it turned to flee. Ape's sister, with her big size, stepped on its tail. Thinking of running away? Do you think you can? Just now your buddy swallowed me up. Soon, the big one was tied up by Ape's sister and carried in her hand. More noise came from afar. Ape's sister, keep working. It wasn't long before several more big ones rushed over, and upon seeing Ape's sister, they screamed, oh my, you big monkey, don't come over here. However, they were quickly captured by Ape's sister as well, to be used as labor. Hey, guys, put your backs into it. Since it's like this, let me light a fire under you. Didn't you eat your lunch? I exclaim as I unleash a lighter version of my burst breath, instantly terrifying the large creatures who strain harder and finally succeed in pulling me out of the swamp. Your dragon brother doesn't need help to walk out of a swamp. How about that, monster tree? Once ashore, I shake the mud off myself, and the wolf, astonished, remarks, indeed, humans are very clever creatures. The monster tree also wipes off the mud I splashed on it, equally shocked. I didn't expect you could summon a large one. By the way, monster tree, I've always been curious. How can you speak human language? And you even look somewhat human. You haven't eaten a transformation fruit. What transformation fruit? The monster tree asks, pulling a fruit from above. Is this what you mean? Yes, that's the fruit. So, you've absorbed the flesh of the transformation fruit, which is why you can talk like humans and even form human-like hands and feet with your vines. Seeing the tree's confused face, I can't be bothered to explain further. Talking to this blockhead won't help it understand. You're a big tree stuck here. How did you get that fruit? I ask. Don't think I can't move from here, but I have my ways. That over there is my underling. It picked up the fruit from a cave not far from here today. The tree proudly states. Great, that must be our destination. Monster tree, can you let your underling take us to that cave? That cave is not far behind me. Just follow this swamp path and you'll see it. But I advise you to hurry. I heard my underling say that a group of crabs are moving those fruits out. You might find nothing if you're too late. Hearing the monster tree say this, I'm puzzled. What do little crabs want with these transformation fruits? But now is not the time to think about this. Ape's sister, let's get moving. These large ones are for you. I'll teach you how to control them. While I show Ape's ape sister how to control the large ones. The monster tree smiles. I never thought there would be humans on this island who could transform into monsters. Maybe they can help me someday. Soon, ape sister gets the hang of it, and we quickly head towards the cave the monster tree mentioned. Before long, a hidden cave appears before us. Ape sister, there's indeed a hidden cave here. This must be where the death lark hides the transformation fruits. As we approach, we indeed see two crabs transporting transformation fruits. Seeing us, the crabs hastily speed up and scurry away. Damn it, this place has indeed been raided. Ape sister, keep an eye on these large ones here. I'm going to check out what's inside the cave. I walk into the cave, but find not a single transformation fruit, only a mutated pterosaur lying on the ground. Damn it, these thieves didn't leave a single fruit for me. I approach the fallen mutated pterosaur and exchange a life fruit from Little Kun, which I feed to the mutated pterosaur. The Wolverine, puzzled, asks, why would you feed it such a good fruit? This must be the death lark's guard for the fruits here. I needed to go and inform the death lark, knowing its cunning nature. What if it blames me for this? I'm not taking the fall for this. Meanwhile, Ape sister is looking around at the cave entrance when the suddenly flying mutated pterosaur startles her. Following her, I also run out. Ape sister, there's not a single transformation fruit left in the cave. We have to catch up to the crabs we saw earlier. We unleash a few large creatures and quickly follow the direction the crabs fled. To speed up, I fire a lighter version of my burst breath at the rear of the large creatures, which makes them speed up while gritting their teeth. Soon, we catch up to the fleeing crabs. The system indicates these swamp crabs under command, 6 meters long, weighing 5 tons, with powerful claws. I frown. Swamp crabs under command? What does that mean? Is someone behind the scenes using them to steal the death lark's fruits? With the death lark's haughty nature, offending other monsters isn't impossible, but what kind of monster could be driving these crabs? Regardless of who it is, the task at hand is more important. I quickly catch up to a crab and deliver a swift dragon tail slap, knocking it away. As I grab the transformation fruit, I bite into the swamp crabs under command. Such good seafood shouldn't go to waste. You successfully devour a swamp crab under command, gaining 2,600 evolution points. Congratulations on your first devouring of a swamp crab under command. Awarded 10,000 evolution points. Since I used up my evolution points in the fight with the monster tree, I'm temporarily unable to analyze the transformation fruit. So, I hand it over to Little Kun for safekeeping. Dragon brother, should we keep chasing? Although the death lark is a bit of a show-off, it's still one of us. Let's help it get the transformation fruits back. With that, Ape sister and I continue to pursue the swamp crabs under command. Another dragon tail sweep sends 3 large crabs flying. Wolverine, Ape sister, and I act simultaneously, swiftly handling them. Just then, a dense green fog appears ahead, and the swamp crabs under command quickly dive into it. Sensing something wrong, I promptly pull on the reins to stop. Dragon brother, why did we suddenly stop? What happened? There's something odd about the green mist ahead. Let's observe first before proceeding. Just then, I realized that we were no longer in the swamp, and I could finally stand on solid ground. However, I hadn't noticed that the haze was closing in on us. By the time I realized, the mist had already grown thicker, quickly enveloping us. The next second, a swamp crab under command emerged from the haze. Why has this crab come back? There must be something fishy going on. At that moment, the crab, completely ignoring the large salamander baring its teeth at it, raised its claws, slowly approaching the large salamander's head. With a loud boom, the crab suddenly exploded, shattering the large salamander's head. We were startled by this sight. Damn, what's happening? That crab just self-destructed. Before I could recover from the shock, a group of swamp crabs under command emerged from the mist and jumped onto me and Ape sister. Damn, are these crabs going to self-destruct too? As I tried to swat away the crabs that had jumped on us, I noticed they began to glow green. The next second, they all exploded right in front of us. It's a trap. Were these crabs deliberately using transformation fruits to lure us here and then attack us with self-destruct? As I pondered, a blade of light swiftly approached from behind me. Sensing danger, I turned around, but was slashed by the light blade. It's definitely a trap. Everyone be careful. We're under attack. Just then, a roar dispersed the mist, and a creature resembling venom appeared before us. The system alerted. This is one of the hands of the dead rotten reptiles king. Blade, 50 meters long, weighing 415 tons. Another roar sounded behind us. That was another hand of the dead rotten reptiles king. Bomb, weighing 380 tons.